Hey everybody, I'm Larry,
Hey, I'm Eric.
and welcome to Chair Chat. Anyway, so we do a lot of discussions about life in a chair, and so far you've only heard from me, who's a spinal cord injury. But there's a bunch of disabilities that are few and far between that are similar yet different. And my buddy and friend here, Eric Pierce, has his kind of own story. And what's kind of cool is that we may take different roads, but we all end up on the same path. So, Eric, tell me, what has you in a chair, my friend?
Well, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I was 32, and that was 29 years ago.
What exactly is MS? What's it stand for? What's it do? How's it work?
It's multiple sclerosis, and that means multiple scars, and it's your immune system attacking your insulation on your nerves, and it depending on which nerves your immune system attacks, produces a symptom. And that's a lot of people with MS have different symptoms, and it's like Larry said, it's a different road because I started with using a cane and went to forearm crutches and then on to using a chair sometimes and then using a chair full time.
Could you explain maybe some symptoms you might have versus maybe someone else? Or...
Sure. Well, mine started where in my legs, falling down, balance problems, bowel, bladder. It's all the same nerves that go to your legs as your bowel and your bladder. So here I am I was welcomed to the Spinal Cord Injury Club many years ago. A club I didn't really want to belong to, but nonetheless, here I am.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. All right, so I guess for me, being a spinal cord injury, and like most of us spinal cord injuries, it's usually a boom and done kind of thing. Like for me, now MS is more progressive thing, right?
Correct.
Now, do you still have sensation and movement? Is that something that just completely disappears on the map, or does it vary, I guess?
Well, it definitely varies. The scary thing with MS is that it's constantly progressing. Because it took me about 15 years to have to use a chair that I could not walk any longer. With MS, for me, if I could just add to something you said, everyone's progression is different because it depends on which nerves are being hit. It produces different symptoms.
So it's similar in the sense with spinal cord injuries. You could have like 10 of the same injury level, but everyone is affected a little different. Okay.
And I didn't answer your earlier question of different symptoms. A lot of people have vision problems. People can have speech impediments.
No kidding.
Mine started in my legs, from the knees down, and just weakness, numbness, and slowly progressed up.
Now, where exactly does it kind of limit as far as, is there a general height, I guess, or where, for you specifically, I guess?
Well,
Okay.
your immune system is constantly attacking your nerves. So, like mine is still, it's not like done. So I still don't know what my tomorrow's going to be. With MS, due to the unknown of the tomorrow, is fear, and it's constant. It's always there. I could end up as a quadriplegic.
No kidding.
And and need 24-hour care. And that's why I just try to accept where I am. I have to grieve. I have to accept and be at peace with where I'm at today and live for the moment.
I love that you mentioned grief, because that is a very pivotal part of the disability process, and I don't think it makes a difference on what your disability is. Grievance is needed, and I think that's why I think, if I can be transparent, here's why I do the videos, is to open up a form of communication. And why I brought you here is that we can kind of relate to each other and understand each other. And I know you've heard me grieve to you, and vice versa.
Yeah,
and part of the groups that I'm a part of and affiliated, and you are as well, we've all, I think, grieved, and that helps us kind of push through some of those hard times, for sure.
Yeah, and leaning on each other and having a place to vent, or a place to laugh.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
it's all about enjoying life, and I think that's the secret is just learning to deal with what you have and enjoy the moment.
Don't
live in the moment.
Do you kind of prepare yourself in a sense, like, hey, regardless, we're going to stay strong, keep doing what we can, or do you have words for others with MS, what they can do to help prepare for what's to come, or how to stay strong when things start to break apart? Or
I can only speak for myself, but I because I don't know what tomorrow's going to be, is I live to enjoy today and do what I'm able to physically and mentally, and I do incorporate downtime. I would suggest that for people with MS, to make sure you get some rest in between your activities.
Would you tell folks to, don't limit yourself, knowing that we are in reality a bit limited to certain things that we can do?
Absolutely, yeah. I do whatever you can.
Fantastic. Because
Whatever.
I would think that it'd be good for the mental side and the emotional side. And
a lot of it's, a lot of this stuff with disabilities and again, speaking for myself with MS, is to keep yourself mentally positive and keep living for today. Try things. If you don't like it or it's too much, don't do it again. But keep pushing.
I think that, I've said in previous episodes that I question my ability as a father sometimes, as a paraplegic parent, as a partner, as a son, as a friend. But I do find it important to myself, for self-growth and achievement and really life fulfillment, to put myself in some safely steered situations to push myself to strengthen my mental and emotional capacity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, to keep your physical strength up too.
Absolutely.
I think that's really important. Tennis is my big sport, and obviously you're in the sun, you're in the heat. It's activity. It's strenuous. You shouldn't overdo.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to make your MS worse, but you're not going to feel good. It's going to take longer to recover.
Right.
But me personally, I would say push that envelope.
I feel the same way. Being chairbound took a lot to as you know. It's a huge pill to swallow, and certain days it's bigger than others, certainly. But I also don't want to live in a bubble of fear. Right. And I think it is important to still get out and to give yourself the opportunity to realize how great life can be if you can let go of some of those fears.
So you said something earlier that I wanted to mention, and it was something about not being able to walk or something.
Right.
I have not met anyone in my 20 years on the tennis courts where I've met people with a zillion different disabilities and different ages, and none of them has ever complained about not being able to walk. It's like that's the least of our concerns.
And
it's the pain and
Yep.
maybe physical barriers, accessibility, things like that you were
That's a
mentioning.
great yes. And it. I was just talking to the wife about that. The not walking is the easiest part out of all
Right.
disabilities. It's the
Yeah.
incontinence. It's the bowel issues. It's the nerve
Pain,
pains. It's
yeah.
the fatigue. It's the
Sleeping.
the mental frustrations of limitations in the day-to-day life. It's
Yeah.
it's all of that. On the bottom, on the very
Yeah.
bottom of the priority list is walking.
Walking.
We manage and adapt.
As a matter of fact, when I first started using a wheelchair part time,
Yeah.
like I'd go into a Home Depot or Lowe's or a grocery store. When a week before, I was struggling to get through with my forearm crutches, and
Right.
I couldn't go up and down every aisle. I had to figure out where I am, and I'm like, okay, it's halfway down that aisle, I can make it down there, and I'd hobble down,
Yeah.
and I'd be exhausted, and I had no energy to do anything at the
Like
end
the
of
rest of the day.
that I wanted to do,
Right.
any good stuff.
Now, do you think what made you use the forearm crutches was that pride? Or the resistance to wanting to use a chair, or because I did part of that myself, and mine was just because I felt people looked at me as a weaker being, and I hated that.
Yeah, definitely part of that. I was embarrassed to be seen in a
Yeah.
wheelchair, where now I don't.
Right.
I forget I'm in a chair, but
It's yeah okay.
But,
That's the same then. Yeah.
but I remember when I first borrowed a wheelchair at a grocery store or something,
Yeah.
or whatever hardware store, and it was like freedom, because
Yeah.
I could go up and down every aisle, and it was like I was free, and it was beautiful.
That's awesome.
So when I first started using the chair, which I progressed into,
Right.
not like you
Right.
normal spinal cord injury
Right.
guys, it was freedom. It was wonderful, and I could conserve energy, and then still be able to go out and plant in my garden or something after when I got home. I still had energy left.
Right.
So the chair was liberating.
I resisted it because I hated my perceived perception from others. I hope that makes sense. My whole thought was that, well, I perceived myself as weak. I felt that it was a symbol
Yeah.
of weakness
Yeah.
and ineptitude of ability. And it's far from that. And people don't necessarily view that. I took people's stares instantly as stares of what is it? Not condensation. Get out of here. Looked at me,
Condescending?
there we go. Condescending. I felt when they were looking at me, it was through the lens of well, I forgot the word.
Condensation.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Nailed it. I realized that was all fabricated in my own head. I mean, that
It's how you
they were
being
more curious
perceived.
than anything.
Yeah.
And they don't know. It's not like if there were something that I could do to change the societal viewpoint, would be or the way we're perceived, or our thoughts or whatever. There needs to be more education at a younger age. In true story though, if they taught kids about different disabilities, then there wouldn't be the curious looks and the questionings from the youth. Then you wouldn't have disabled youth growing up feeling like they've been boxed in, and there would be more understanding and opportunity for communication and advancement, I think, and as a society. But it needs to start early on, because I've gone through grocery stores where parents are scared to ask questions. The kids will come up to me and just like, why are you in a wheelchair? And the parents are like,
Yeah.
well,
yeah,
no, they need to
yeah.
ask, they need to learn, they need to
Right.
know.
It's
You're
like,
just
we're
you're
good
just
with that.
throwing a veil over
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
is here. We're here, and we're very, very present. And it
And
needs
we're
to be
and we're
discussed.
comfortable with
yeah,
that.
it needs to be discussed. If you got questions, ask. Is transparency and openness. That's the only way we're going to learn through each other's communication. I don't know.
I remember. Now I'm what, a year or two older than you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
when I was a kid, And I can remember seeing people in wheelchairs, and
Yeah.
our parents would be like, "Don't stare, don't stare," and it was like there was like, I don't know, like they were contagious or something. But now, I think there's a lot more people out in wheelchairs, and I sometimes feel like people don't think anything of me being out there. I almost think people look at me and with like, wow, that guy's pretty cool. He's out here in the grocery store. But I'm pushing a carriage to the store. I'm sorry, y'all down here in the south call them buggies, but we call them carriages up north.
Just call it a
But I'd be
cart.
pushing a carriage through the grocery store, pushing my chair, and at the deli counter ordering groceries and reaching all the way up and grabbing the meats off the counter and putting them in my carriage, and I think people just go like, that's pretty cool,
Yeah. All right, Eric. So I had another question when to backtrack to accessibility. I noticed that you have a ramp to your van. Now, is that out of trying to preserve arms versus transfers? Is that just I don't know. I think it's a sweet gig.
Yeah, it is. It's a sweet ride. Up until I just bought that 2 years ago.
Okay.
That's my first ramp van. I've been using hand controls for 20 years, but I was doing a kind of a stand transfer, pivoting, and trying to throw my chair in the back of my van at the same, or the side door of my van. I had the seat removed, and I'd have days that I was unable to do that, and
Right.
so getting the ramp van actually does help me conserve energy, so that then I have energy to go do more of the things that I like instead of wasting. I'm conserving energy by having things of convenience.
Gotcha. Fantastic. What, in your opinion, is what's your hardest day to day? I guess chore.
The hardest chore day to day?
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything. It's all hard.
Everything is hard.
Welcome to Chair Life.
Yeah.
Everything you do from now on is hard.
It's part of being in the club.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Yeah, I can't think of a specific thing that's more difficult. I mean, I live alone.
So you are, fully independent.
But
Fantastic.
I do, I've had groceries delivered, little things like that can help you conserve energy again, so that then I can go play tennis. Well, I have a question for you, Larry. So what's it like to be okay on Thursday and Friday? You're waking up and somebody's telling you you're never going to walk again.
I think it's individual based. I've known some friends that have gotten through their grieving process relatively quickly. Me, especially due to the age, I was 17 when I was injured. I rejected it wholly and completely. I was like, this isn't going to happen. I'll get back to normal. I'll walk again. I'll wrestle again. I'll do everything the way that I used to. And I tried. I mean, I did therapy. I did all sorts of activities in trying to do that. But as time progressed, the realities of just knowing that, not dismissing the fact that you can get things back or whichever completely, but realizing that the possibility of getting and doing things the way I did prior to Chair Life was more likely not going to happen than was. I think once I started to accept that, life started becoming easier, but it took me probably about 6 years, because I am prideful and I just refused to accept anything, and that was a bit hard, and it probably made my life a little harder. Self-inflicted wound there, but
Because of your pride?
yeah, I didn't.
Really?
And part of it, I think so.
That's interesting.
Just completely rejected the idea of not getting my quote normal life back. But once I started over time accepting that certain things aren't going to be 100% the same, and focusing more on what I can do, and trying to figure out new ways to get a new stab at life, I guess, was when it started turning up for me. But I mean, it was hard, and it was hard for me, but it was also hard for my loved ones, because I put myself in a bad position. And as just side note for any of you folks that are struggling mentally or emotionally, or just really in a dark place, reach out to folks like me and Eric, because we understand. We've been there. We felt broken. We felt lost. We felt crushed and helpless and lonely, and I mean, everything that you have felt, we have felt. I was just lucky enough to finally move forward and accept some things and give myself that opportunity to look at life through a different lens. And I think it wasn't until then that life started becoming good again, and I saw the sunshine. Yeah.
So it did take you a long time
Oh,
to
yeah.
come to the point of acceptance.
Oh yeah, it took probably about 6.5 years. I hid behind a bottle, man. Yeah, it was easier.
Well, for everyone out there, I've heard that story dozens of times. That it takes a while to figure out how you're gonna piece your life back together and redefine who you are and what you want to be, and it's okay. But do reach out for help. It's okay to ask for help. Don't forget that.
Absolutely. We're all here to help. That's the point of us doing this. Yeah.
All right.
But I guess that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching,
you.
and Eric, I appreciate you coming and chatting, buddy.
Love you, man.
I love you too, brother.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All
Y'all
right.
take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.